Good evening, everybody. Right, okay, so that is the finished wash on the red, on the skull, as you can see there. That's the GHAZGHKULL shade. Again, purple on the outer rucksack onto the brass. Gives it a really nice colour differentiator, bit of contrast. Black on the grey smoke. And what we're going to cover now is the heat-treated steel or metal effect. Now we're going to apply that to GHAZGHKULL's claws, probably the front barrels on his cannon, and then also the piping on the rucksack and maybe just out of the bottom as well. And essentially what we'll do it in stages. Best way to get this to work, if you've been really clever, is apply it all wet. So there's 3 shades we're going to use, these 3 here. 4 rather, 4 shades, and you want to essentially, if you're really good and want to master this, is get used to putting all 4 on simultaneously and then being able to blend between the 2. However, you don't have to do that when you're first starting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a step-by-step guide with 1 layer at a time, and then you guys can perfect the rest. Hi guys, right, first shade to use is the Carabao Crimsons. And essentially with heat treated metal, you want to start with the reds and the sort of the Reichland flesh shade as far away from the heat source as possible. What do I mean is that? What do I mean by that rather? Is if you look at the front of an exhaust, if you look at like a car or a lorry, the tip of the exhaust tends to be black, then blue, then a sort of a Reichland flesh shade type colour, and then a red at the back, and that, in terms of that rainbow effect. And that's what you want to emulate on the Mini. So if you look at the claws, we've done that right at the back of the claws. Turn the miniature around, and you look on the piping. So we've just started to apply that wash onto the back of the piping. Around the base of the miniature as well. You can't quite see it in there, but just the exhaust system on the back of his claw there. So the next shade we're going to use is Reichland Flesh shade, then followed by the Nightshade, and then finally the Null Nile. So what I'll do now is I'll bring them all together and then we'll show you the finished product. Hi guys, right, okay, so that's the final product. Heat treated steel. So on his claw you can start to see there's a lot more colour coming through. His backpack's probably the best opportunity to show you that. So if you look at the piping, we started off with Carabao Crimson, Reichland Flesh shade, then the Nightshade, and finished off with the Null Nile. So it gives you a lot more colour to the silver. Alright, so the silver still comes through, but it gives you that sort of rainbow sort of heat treated effect. Later in the Mini, what we'll do is we'll do an edge highlight with another silver, and that'll really bring out the colour.